I've been busy making stuff. I want to be doing some sales in the real world, as I mentioned in a recent video, so I've got to crack on and make some stuff. I can't buy in what I'm intending to sell because, well, it's all unique pieces that I'm making. I don't want to send this out to other people, I don't want to do big volume, I just want to do small pieces that are dictated by the fabric I've got. So a big thank you to my friend who gave me a box of fabric. I really appreciate that, that's really helped. It's also helped fill a few gaps in with my fabric stash. So first off, I showed this one off on the mannequin, and it doesn't really do it justice because you can't show the hood very easily. So let's put this one on. And as you can see, it's sleeveless, cropped body, and we've got the nice big hood on there as well. You know, it's really quite comfortable. There's no fastenings on this one, that's on purpose. I wanted to keep this really simple. Some of the ones I make will have fastenings, some will have decoration. I felt this one was enough, just with the sequins and the brocade on the inside. The thing you can't see, but does make a difference, is it's interlined. So behind these sequins is a brown satin, and it really helps the sequins pop out and look a lot brighter. The other good thing about this one, because of the way I've made it, it's fully reversible. And I really like how the sequins look on the inside of the hood. When you layer it over other clothes, like I have here, the sequins aren't really a bother. But if you were wearing this just on its own, I imagine they'd be a bit annoying against your skin. But these are all about options. So you dress them up as you individually want to dress them up, with accessories and all that kind of thing. And I have no idea what my hair is doing today, it's just doing its own thing. So yeah, this one is off to a new home, this one's going to a friend. Honestly, because of the orange, it was just them. So this one's already taken, and I'm happy that it's going to be going to somebody who's going to enjoy it. So after making the orange one, I had a look through my stash and had enough to make a red one. And this is exactly the same pattern. But this is what I mean about every single one being unique. So this is the same kind of fabric, that sort of net with machine embroidered sequins over the top, but it's red. And behind these sequins is a nice red broadcloth wool. I wouldn't normally mix synthetics and natural fibres like this, but in this instance it makes sense. These are not machine washable, these are just surface wash, hand wash sort of things. So you're not going to worry about the wool shrinking at a different rate to everything else. It's going to be perfectly fine. The lining is a quilted fabric, or rather it's made to look like a quilted fabric, but that sort of diamond pattern, that's just how it comes on the roll. Now, because this one's got that wool interlining, it hangs very differently. It's a lot more rigid, and it feels a lot heavier. Well, it is a lot heavier. So the shape of the hood, particularly, you can see it holds its shape much more firmly than the other one does, which is a bit floopy. And I quite like how different that is. Again, no fastenings on this one. Because of these sequins, I just didn't think it needed it. I really like it. I'm kind of loath to sell this one, but this is the first one that's going to be up for sale. This is the first completed one that doesn't have a dedicated home yet. Obviously, it is reversible as well. This one doesn't work as well as the orange, and I think that's because of the colour of the sequins. Give me a hole. There we are. But I still like it, you know? It still works this way out. It's quite a different look, and of course when you drop the hood you end up with these sequin details, which I quite like. So that's the finished ones. And this is actually very comfortable. It's not tight at all. There's enough room under the arm, but it's also high enough that it looks smart. And it should, I hope, be a fairly flexible fit. Because if you're a little bit larger in the chest or the bust, this should have enough room in it that it fits more like a bolero. And if you're a little bit smaller, well, it's just a looser fit. It's just, you know, it's flexible, and that's the whole point. I don't want these things to be massively tailored. I want them to fit a wider range of body shapes. So that's 2 finished ones. What have I got in the works? This is the next one in the works, and I'm making use of, again, some ends of fabric that I've got. So I've had various projects over the years, and I don't tend to throw away the fabric that's left. I know some people do. I'm not one of those people. And I had enough of this really lush purple velvet, and most of the time it looks black, but it is actually a very dark purple. And some of this gold brocade. And this one, again, when you look at the way the hood sits on it, the way it drapes, is different again to those other two. So it's the same basic pattern, again, but this time we're going to have like a ribbon tie on the collar, which you can wear loose, like this, or you can tie, or any number of other things. I might do some embellishments on this one. I've got a feeling a little bit of extra trim, maybe on the end of the ties here, would just elevate it a little bit. I'm not sure. I'm going to have a look through my bits and pieces, my bits of trim and buttons and beads, see what speaks to me. And if something does, we'll do that. If it just works in the gold and purple, we'll just leave it that way as well. Yeah, I'm enjoying making these. I've got some other things. I've got some shirts that I want to make, but I need to get some fabric for that. I haven't got what I'm after exactly. And I've got some kilts I'd like to make as well. All of these are designed to fit a fairly wide range of body shapes and sizes, so I don't have to worry about making specific sized things. I want them to be quite flexible. And I think that will be something that will help, because when they're quite unique like this, your real difficulty is going to be finding the person who's both interested in this fabric and colour combination, this design, and this size. You're really limiting your market on every single piece. So I've got to do something to try and open that out a little bit while staying within the remit of what this particular range is. So yeah, there you go, that's the project so far. I'm going to start work on this, and we'll have a bit of a chat as I get progressed along with it, until we're all done. Be interesting to see what else I end up making. Progress is being made here. I've got the ties done, and I'd forgotten there's a thing that velvet does sometimes where it walks as you sew it. So one of these stretched somewhere and put a twist into it, and then the other one didn't. So I intentionally twisted both of them and locked it in with some stitches, and honestly I'm glad that happened, because it means when I sew this on here it's going to work better with either side. It's going to be a nice detail. This is what I mean about trying to make things where the fabric tells me what to do, and this, like turning a little mistake like that into something intentional, is exactly the sort of thing we're about. The hood and the body is all sewn together, and the really nice thing with velvet is you can barely see the seams. So I do like that, and this velvet actually is quite a nice one to sew with. It behaves very well on the machine, as does this brocade lining. This is lovely stuff to work with. I've worked with various ones of these over the years. It's very nice. The only hassle is because I've used 2 very different colours, I keep having to change the thread colour in the machine. But I'm at the point now where I'm sewing the lining to the outer, and then I can decide whether or not I'm going to put embellishments on this. I feel like maybe some pearl buttons would be a good thing, but I'll see when it's all together, because that might be a little bit much with what's going on with the textures. I think it's time just to show you the last couple of these that I've done, so I can wrap this video up. This is not something I've made, this is just something I have in my wardrobe. Now, I did show you the purple and gold one that I was working on, and I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I know I say that a lot, but I genuinely am happy with how these have turned out. I probably wouldn't normally pair it with this particular top I've got on, but that's fine. This is just to show you how it fits. This one's quite different again because the velvet on this is actually quite heavy, quite drapey, which is nice. So the hood sits very differently to the other ones, and unlike the others, this one has a little tie on it that you can actually do up if you want to, and yeah, you can put the hood up too. That works just fine. I did make this one so it's technically reversible, but I'm not as keen on it with the gold on the outside. Part of that is golds are not a great colour on me. Golds and yellows, I like them, but they don't suit me very well. And part of it is just, I don't really like the velvet on the inside. However, that's not going to be a problem for everybody. And the velvet is nice against your skin, so that's nice. But it does drape differently when you've got the hood up on this one. You know, it's okay. I do like this one. It has sort of, I don't know, 90s Enya kind of vibes to it somehow. Even though it's not, you know, it's not super long elfy stuff. I think it's this combination of this dark purple velvet and the gold brocade on the inside. It's just got that sort of fantasy 90s thing. Just put this over here. And this one is interesting because so far the ones I've made have all been made out of new fabric, dead stock. This one uses reclaimed fabric for the yellow wool with the fringe. The lining on it is some dead stock fabric. I did a video a very long time ago on the channel using this same fabric. I've got loads of it. But like the red sequined one, because this is wool, it again hangs differently. It's much more rigid and it holds its shape very nicely. But the fringe is quite fun. And originally this was one of those sort of oversized scarves. They're not like a winter scarf, they're more like a throw it round your shoulders, almost a shawl kind of scarf. The width of those is just right for the small medium of my pattern for this. So I thought I would try using the fringe, and I needed something to go with this fabric because I didn't have anything, so this was an excellent find. And I think it looks great. I think it's really cute. And of course it is reversible, and this print, I spent a bit of time picking out the best bits of the print to give the hood some interest. We've got the same diamond pattern running down the back. It's basically impossible to make the back and the collar, the sort of hood stripe collar section, match up perfectly, so I did my best with what I can do with the fabric. Sometimes you have to accept that unless you're doing custom printing, you can't actually make things perfect. Because it's wool, it's snagged up on me. So, technically reversible, and it is great for the hood pattern. I do like the hood pattern. But again, like the velvet, I prefer this with the wool on the outside rather than on the inside, even though you can wear it both ways. I think this way out is the weaker way of wearing this one. But maybe if you were pairing it up with something else, you would feel differently. So I've got quite a few of these done now. I've got some fabric on its way. I managed to find some more fabric that fills in some gaps. And I'll bring you along when I make some more of these. I might go into a little bit more detail on the construction. I'm not sure. My focus at the moment has been more building up a range of items that I can actually sell, because I need to get enough together to make a stall, so I've got to prioritise my time a little bit. Let's put these away properly, and I'll just have a quick chat. Look who's awake. It's Bob. This is an African land snail. He's quite a few years old now. I say he. Obviously, snails don't really have a gender, as far as I'm aware. Anyway, I thought it would just be fun to show you Bob. He's not normally about during the day at this time of day, but clearly quite hungry. He'd been hibernating for a little bit over the last few weeks, and I was a little bit concerned, but it's good to see them out and about munching down on some beetroot salad. We are at the end of the video. This is where the views all drop off. Nice cup of coffee. Yeah, that's a bit of a peek at what I've been up to. I'm not sure what craft videos I'm going to be bringing over the next few weeks. It might be more of this sort of thing, more this sort of like casual vlog, sort of here's some stuff I made thing. Because at the moment, I've got to be careful with my time management. I've got to make sure that what time my health allows me to have is used wisely, because my most important thing right now is setting up my stock to run a stall, hopefully at a Pride event, hopefully this summer. And I've made the decision that while I would like to do maybe 4 events through the year, I'm just going to book one that's like a full fat event, and then see how I feel afterwards. Best case scenario, I set up, my health is fine, I have a really enjoyable time, I sell all of my stuff and make lots of money. That would be amazing. Realistically, I don't think that's what's going to happen. Realistically, I think I'm going to struggle with the stamina required to run a store for an entire day. I think I'll sell a few things. I don't think that my first event this year, like big event, I don't think I'm going to make a profit. I do think I'm going to make a loss. That's normally how it goes. Because I'm still learning. I'm still learning how things work now compared to the last time I did this years and years ago. Obviously I'm not counting the most recent event that I did, because that was my trial run, small private thing. It's kind of different. But I don't know, I'm trying to be optimistic about it, while also not being overly so. I don't want to get my hopes up and pretend like everything's going to be fine, because I know that's not always the case. Yeah, but if this works, if this new direction works, I'm doing something I'm really enjoying. That's very important to me when it comes to my line of work. I'm hopefully creating something that people enjoy. So far, the stuff that people have seen that I've made has gone down really well. So hopefully I'm on the right track with that. I do have some more fabric coming. I fortunately recently did have some commission sales. February's been a tricky one this year, so I am struggling a bit, but yeah, we had some sales recently, so I could invest in some fresh fabric. That helps bridge the gap with the fabric I've got, because right now I've got a lot of very similar colours and nothing to pair them with that looks good. So with the new fabric that's coming, that should help me sort that out. I've done a lot less embellishing on these than I was expecting. I don't know where I'm pointing there because you can't see them, but the tops I thought I would be doing a lot more like beading and buttons and that sort of thing, and I've not done very much really at all on that front because they've not needed it, which has been a surprise. I am going to be putting the shout out with some friends, so if they've got any fabric that they're looking to rehome, curtains are one of my favourites because you get some really interesting fabrics with curtains, and as long as you're careful about UV damage and that sort of thing, you can get some really, really fun stuff. If you've seen the floral biker jacket series that I did on the channel, do check the playlist, it is in there. That's made entirely out of curtains, and nobody knows. It's one of my favourite things that I've ever made, and it seems to be everybody else's favourite thing too, which is wonderful. More of that. Yeah. I think, as usual, check the description box down below for the links for extra ways you can help me. I've noticed a few more subscribers while I've been doing the recording for this, so thank you for signing up. If you're on my Patreon, you people are the absolute best. You're the ones that are helping the most with this journey, because I can rely on that for knowing that I've got, you know, a small amount coming in every single month, and that gives me some security, which is very important. I think that'll do us. I think I've probably rambled on long enough now, and I will see you next time, Tuesday at 3 PM, and if it ever stops raining, I'll be working on my cars again. Take care, I'll see you next time.